Welcome to Christian Trivia, where we talk about the Bible and Christianity in the form of trivia questions. Today we're going to be talking about The Chosen, and specifically we're going to be talking about facts concerning Matthew. So let's jump into this. Here's question 1. So we often refer to Matthew as Matthew the tax collector, but what was his actual position within Roman society? Was it A, plebeian, B, publican, C, magistrate, or D, patrician? And the answer is B, publican, or in Latin, publicanus. This was a role in which a local person was given the role of contractor into the Roman society. And so Matthew would have asked for this position and become a tax collector this way. Now, because of his role, Matthew often had a lot of dealings with Quintus. We see this a lot in the show, but what does he normally call Quintus when he sees him? Is it A, Dominus, B, Praetor, C, my lord, or D, Sarim? And the correct answer is A, Dominus. Now, in Latin, this actually means master or owner. So it's Matthew giving respect to Quintus, because he obviously knows he has to in that situation. Now, in episode 2 of season 1, we hear a lot about Shabbat, or the Sabbath. But who did Matthew eat Shabbat with in that episode? Another fill in the blank here. We wanted to make this one a little bit harder. Well, your time's running out. And the answer here is the dog. Now, we know very little about this dog. It doesn't even have a name, and it's gone by season 1. But this was a funny episode and a funny moment for Matthew. Now, in one particular episode, we hear as Matthew tells us his mother's name. Do you remember what it was? Let's see. Is it A, Ima, B, Rina, C, Elisheva, or D, Meriav? And the answer is C, Elisheva. Now, this was a very quick moment in episode 7 of season 1, but Matthew kind of corrects himself. He begins by calling her Ima, or mother, but then immediately switches to her actual name, because remember, he's been disowned by his family. On that same line of thinking, what is Matthew's father's name? This one should be a little bit easier for you. Is it A, Daniel, B, Pinchas, C, Alphaeus, or D, Zacchae? I'm sure you got this one, because we hear it a few times throughout the series. And the answer is C, Alphaeus. Now, we hear this from Jesus. We also hear it from Matthew, as he calls his father Alphaeus as well. So here we are at the halfway point. Pretty easy so far, right? Well, let's make it a little bit tougher. But first, please like and subscribe to this video. It really helps us out. And if you want to support the channel directly and be a part of weekly trivia nights, make sure you sign up for our Patreon, link in the description below. Alright, let's move on. Immediately after asking Matthew to follow him, Jesus brings him back to his house for a dinner party. But there were some other people invited. Who were the other tax collectors at that party? This one's pretty hard. You had to have been paying attention pretty closely and maybe even have the subtitles on. And the answer is Ram and Jahaz. We actually hear this from Gaius, as he's kind of yelling at Matthew for even being here in the first place. Now let's jump to season 2. As Matthew's talking with Philip, how old does he say that he was when he skipped ahead in school? Is it A, 10 years old, B, 11 years old, C, 8 years old, or D, 7 years old? And the answer is C, 8 years old. Matthew is proficient in both Torah and math. However, they provided a brand new program for him to study under a bookkeeper instead. Alright, put your Bible caps on here. Whenever Jesus is talking with Matthew about the Sermon on the Mount, he asks him what is his favorite part. And Matthew says, the part where it says, don't be anxious about your life. Now, in our Bible, where can we find that verse exactly? I told you these questions were going to get harder. And the correct answer is Matthew 6:25. We see a lot of the Sermon on the Mount throughout Matthew, obviously. It's a very long sermon. But this is this specific point where he talks about not being anxious about your life. But let's keep it rolling to the next question. How many siblings does Matthew have in The Chosen? Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 1, or D, 0? He's an only child. And the answer is C1. As far as we know, Matthew only has one sibling, a sister, in The Chosen, and we don't even know her name yet. So maybe they're going to do something with that in the future. Now for the hardest question of the day. We've saved this one for last. Now, exactly what month and hour did Jesus call Matthew to come follow him? And yes, we actually do have an answer for this. And the answer is C, mid-March at 8 a.m. At the beginning of season 2, we flash forward to a future of the disciples and the apostles. And Matthew says this:
It was the 4th morning of the 3rd week of the month of Adar, sometime during the 2nd hour.
And if we decipher all of this, that brings us to about mid-March and about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I would be insanely impressed if you got that last one, but let us know in the comments below, as always, what was your score? And see how others are doing as well. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Check out another trivia video, and we'll see you on the next one.